I'm Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing one of my fancy booktube hats, and today I'm bringing you my July TBR. Well, the majority of my July TBR, because you may be aware the Reading Rush, formerly Booktubeathon, is happening near the end of this month, and I will be participating in that, and I will be doing a separate TBR for that readathon. So this is all of the other stuff that I want to read in the month of July. I have set aside what I think is my TBR for the Reading Rush already, but I am still open to the possibility that I might want to switch some of those things out, so I'm not committing to it yet. That said, this is going to be a month where I'm going to be pretty much glued to my Kindle because this is the last month for reading the Hugo finalists. The Hugo voting period closes at the end of July, and I still have lots of things to read from the Hugo voter packet. So I am currently reading and very near the end of Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, which is nominated for the Lodestar Award for Best Young Adult Novel. I plan on probably finishing up this book tonight, and then the next Lodestar nominee that I want to read is going to be Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman. I have heard nothing but good things about this book, and I have yet to find one of the Lodestar nominees that I'm all gung-ho for, and I'm really rooting for it to win the award, so I'm hoping that this is going to be it. And then I'm just going to mention that I have a ton of short fiction that I want to read for Hugo voting, and I'm not going to get to all of it, nor am I necessarily going to wrap those short stories up on this channel. I don't necessarily do that with short fiction, but I do want to mention that there's a lot of it I want to read. One of the nominated short stories, a bunch of the novelettes, a couple stories from a couple of the Campbell Award nominees, and I think also a couple of stories that are in one of the Hugo nominated series. And then if I somehow get through all of that and I'm just dying to read more short fiction, there's a bunch more in the Hugo voter packet in the SemiPro Zine category. Each of the nominated SemiPro Zines has provided some amount of their published short fiction from the past year. But then a step up from novelette in the novella category, there is just one more Hugo-nominated novella that I have to read, and that is The Black God's Drums by P. Djèlí Clark, so that is a very high priority for me this month. Then in the series category, you may remember last month I was planning on reading Infomocracy by Malka Older, which is the first book in the Sentinels cycle, which is a trilogy that's nominated in this category. And I had said then that if I read this, I might continue on and finish the whole series by the end of the voting period, and I think I'm going to, having read the first book, let it rest at the end of book one. I don't feel like this is a series I really want to continue on with right now, so I'm going to move on instead to the last Hugo-nominated series that I still really want to try, and that's the October Day series by Seanan and McGuire, which has 12 books in it so far, so I'm not going to read all 12, obviously, but I definitely want to try Rosemary and Rue, which is the first book. This is urban fantasy. People love it. That's all I know. And who knows, if I love the heck out of it, maybe I'll read another book or two in the series in July. Who knows? It could happen. And then I have 2 more books that are on my personal Hugo reading list to finish by the end of the month that I have marked aside for the Reading Rush. So those are not going to be on my TBR right now. I'm going to talk about the other things that I kinda want to read this month. So first of all, there are 2 books that I am currently reading that I want to continue reading. The first is one that I started reading back during the Hugo nominating period because I was looking for things that I might want to that I might want to nominate for the Lodestar, because I didn't have a lot of stuff I wanted to nominate for that award at that point. And so I started reading Halfwitch by John Schoffstall. And this is a YA standalone fantasy novel that takes place in a weird sort of magical version of medieval Europe, where like a lot of superstitions about magic in the world are true. And I got to a point back several months ago where I was like, you know, I'd read about a third of the book then, and I thought, I want to continue with this, but I don't think I want to, like, rush to finish it in time to nominate it for awards. I'm going to set it aside for later. And I've now started back in on this. I'm about halfway through. I am enjoying it, and I want to finish it this month. And then the other book that I've started this month is The Bards of Bone Plain by Patricia A. McKillip, which is one of my 5-star TBR predictions. It's not the one that I thought I was going to start reading in July, but it's the one that called to me, and so I picked it up. I want to keep on with this. I think McKillip's writing is lovely for the summer, so I want to read this in summer. And then the last thing I have here is another library book that was on my TBR for last month that I didn't get to, and this is The Summer Prince by Alaya Dawn Johnson. This is another standalone YA novel that is a current group read for the Into the Forest group on Goodreads that I'm a member of. I'll link the group below. I haven't participated really in a group read for that group in a really long time, and I want to get back to being active in that group's discussions again. And that group read period for this book goes until the middle of this month. So this I'm planning on reading in the first half of the month, if I can get to it. So there you have the majority of my TBR for July. I do have a few other specifically graphic novels that I would like to read this month. I think I'm going to only set like one of them aside for the reading rush, and then I'm gonna try to read a couple of them at some point earlier in the month as like breathers between all the Hugo stuff. But I don't know which graphic novels those are exactly going to be yet. I'm going to let it be a little bit impulse reading for me, which of those I end up picking up. Anyhow, that's all for today. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you're also reading for the Hugos, and what you're planning on reading this month if you are. Anyhow, I hope you're having a nice day. That is all. Bye for now.